providing some new kind of technology. So I think there's a reality and then it has to be addressed. You can't run away.
Yeah, I tend to believe that there's a lot of innovation that can be done on dry land agriculture. I'll give you two specific examples. There's actually a company based in Texas and Mexico that's been funded by the mainstream venture capitalists. They actually grow a cactus in dry land, and the byproduct of this cactus is actually latex itself. And the latex is actually naturally grown latex that can be used for surgical gloves and things of its sort. It has got many benefits compared to the artificially produced surgical gloves. This company, I think in the last 3 years, has grown 100 to 200%. They have planted in New Mexico and Texas. They're looking at Rajasthan actually to come and grow in this completely dry lands. I personally happen to be involved with a very large-scale biodiesel plantation company. This company again has planted in about 100,000 acres in Andhra Pradesh alone. They have a pipeline of about 600,000 acres. They have solved some of the problems that we have been talking about, which is contract farming and how do you deal with small lot sizes and how do you organize the farmers. So this is just an illustration that there are innovations, there are entrepreneurs who are out there who are making use of large-scale plantations despite all the constraints that we talk about.
In my view, another thing that India could do is in the area of biotech. India has embraced biotech research, and it has embraced non-biotech products, transgenic products like BT cotton, but it is not commercialized any food products. And I'll give you an example, something that's in the pipeline. BT is a gene that puts in the plant a resistance to insects so that farmers can use less insecticide. We all hear about the stories of farmers committing suicide because of their losses to insects. If BT was put into, or if BT pigeon pea, for instance, was commercialized, the potential savings to poor smallholder rain-fed farmers is just absolutely huge. It's in the realm of $1 to $2 billion a year. The losses from Helicoverpa, just one insect, are over $1 billion a year, and two actually, and farmers are using about $1 billion of insecticide. So the potential is very great. So in my view, again, there's a need for some policy adjustment. It's coming, but it really needs to move faster. And in fact, again, it is held back by the vested interests in irrigated agriculture. But that's just my bias because we work on the agriculture.
Let's change topics a little bit. Once we identified the opportunity, one of the biggest challenges that we talked about or heard is actually growing and scaling these businesses. Rajiv, I guess from your experience, can you just talk some of the challenges of scaling from once you have the conceptualization, how you have solved, and what are the practical tips you can give to entrepreneurs in the segment?
Sure, you're always going to be confronted with land issues, land ownership, buying of land. This is something that you read about in the papers every day. It's become such a controversial topic. Almost all land in this country it's sort of politicized. So for you to even pick up 50 acres or 100 acres of land, sometimes there's political interference that you come into, and unless you have political connections, it becomes difficult. So we had to come up with a way. We did get together a group of our associates, and we managed to pick up about 300 acres of land. But that is, we had to put together a group of 12 people, unrelated people, otherwise we would have got into issues, and then we formed a cooperative society and did that. But we realized very soon that we had to contract from growers with plots as small as 5 acres, because to plant wine grapes is very expensive. It costs over 3 lakhs an acre to plant an acre of wine grapes. And a lot of these farmers don't have that kind of money, and of course we couldn't put that kind of money up front. So we have an extension team that is moving around constantly, in constant contact with the growers. We have growers' handbooks, we have seminars, we do all sorts of extension activity to bring these farmers into the fold. We take them around to plots where it's been successful, and in the 300 acres that we own, we have a lot of experimental viticulture going on. We're bringing in new varieties. We're using new methods of grafting. All sorts of new things going on there where we can bring all the farmers and show them, let them see for themselves, because farmers are very reluctant to accept whatever you say. Half the time they're going to say, no, we know better than you. But if you can actually show them that yes, this is working well here, then they will often change their minds. So it's a lot of work, and it's one of the reasons why we've been so successful is because we've been able to get together a good extension program. We have a team of agricultural graduates, PhDs in agriculture, bachelors in agriculture who go out, speak their language. And so we're dealing with about 200 farmers, and we'll be adding on about 50 farmers a year.
Rajshekar, do you have any comments on that? What are the challenges and how have you solved the challenges, especially dealing with such a diverse set of farmers?
Basically, I think for us scaling up is an issue, and particularly in organic, because there's a lag period of 3 years. If you start organic this year, and then it becomes certified organic only in the 3rd year. So obviously there's not much demand for what we call the transition products, that is what is under conversion to fully organic. So one way we have addressed this challenge is like going to domestic market, so that initially we are able to address this issue. And then second is there's always skepticism when we talk about something new. So it is about working with a lot of local organizations who are trusted in that area, using, taking their help and then convincing farmers, and you create some model farms, and then kind of people see that and they know that it works, and then they start scaling up. And particularly in a dryland situation, which we are again talking about, so particularly in a dryland kind of thing, where I think more than any input, water is the most crucial thing. So whether you apply more fertilizer, it doesn't really matter. What matters is that one particular rain at the right time. So there I think farmers have seen that organic agriculture presents a better alternative, and then finally their net incomes improve. On the other side, you have a scaling up challenge in a new business, because it's something, a new concept from a consumer side. So you need to create a critical consumer base so that you are able to build an economies of scale. So I think in a way it's been a difficult task working on creating scale at one is the production end, another is the demand end. So I guess demand end, we have been working with a lot of organizations in kind of promoting.
I think, I personally feel that there is no escape from including the farmers in our process. I think Raju also said the same thing. That inclusive model can alone enable us to scale it up. And I think farmers can be convinced by proper examples and models. There's a lot of talk about corporate farming, contract farming, and so on and so forth. Of course, there is no single solution for this. But nobody can say that corporate farming can solve all the problems of Indian agriculture. No. Nor the contract farming. I think locally suitable models have to be evolved, and the farmers have to be taken into confidence that that inclusive model can alone enable us to scale up the operations.
Yeah, I think farmers are the most important ingredient for scaling up, and because we talked a lot about the land loss savings and things of the sort. So unless we involve them, unless we get their buy-in, the companies are not going to scale. Utpal, I had a question for you. Given that you put on the hat of a big company, how can entrepreneurs work, for example, with companies such as yours, in starting their businesses, growing and scaling? What role can your company play in that?
See, in India, most large companies at the moment are averse to getting into manufacture on their own. Particularly if manufacturing involves employment of large numbers of people. So one clear area for entrepreneurs to associate themselves with is in somewhere in the value chain, so providing some kind of manufacturing service. That's one clear area. The other area which is really not so much in a manufacturing organization like ours, but in the retail area. Because again, there is the issue there is how do you move fresh products from